This is a beautiful and an informative episode with my dear friend Shoubhit Datta. I'm glad that I brought him on this show and I really love talking to him. It was been some time that we had catched up. I would surely tell you that watch this episode till the end. You will surely love it. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of motivation this guy has. He's an influencer, man. I mean, I won't reveal out too much. I just want you guys to enjoy this one. So dive deep in this podcast. Hello, guys. Welcome to the third episode of Podcast with Shivam. I am with a beautiful guest. This is my friend Shoubhit Datta. He is a he is a literate all-rounder, what you call it. He is a singer. He's a vocalist. He is a speaker. He's a leader. And my guy is a writer as well. He has been a phenomenon. He's trying to be what he is. He's doing it very correctly. He's an actor as well. He's a beautiful mind. He's the most beautiful human that I've ever met in my life. And this is coming from the heart. This is a single take, okay? So let's start. Welcome to my show, my brother. How are you?
Are, thank you so much. That was probably the sweetest introduction anyone could have ever given. So it was very sweet. Really, it's honestly a pleasure to be here. I was
thank you,
I received that text from you asking if I was willing to feature here, and I was honestly so glad you asked.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, I was honestly so happy that you asked. It's actually, I'm very glad to be here. Very, very glad to be here.
That's nice to hear, man. Nice to hear. Okay, I'll start with the profession you have taken now, films. Okay. So how did it get into your mind? And where did the journey start that okay, I'll have to do this. Okay, I'm going into films now. What's the story? Tell us something.
So it's very interesting, actually, the story of how I actually got into filmmaking. I wasn't originally supposed to study film. I was planning to pursue sociology. And it so happened that I was shooting for one of my, actually it was my first short film as an actor. Uh, and it was my first time acting on screen in front of a camera. We were shooting for that film, and I remember the director of the film is also my drama teacher for over 7 years. She was directing the film, and halfway through the shoot, after the wrap up for the day and everything, halfway through the shoot, she just casually asked me, "What is your plans? What are you planning to study?" And I told her that I want to pursue sociology. And she casually, very casually, just asked me, "Okay, you could also try filmmaking," And I was like, "Okay, interesting." I didn't actually consider it very seriously at that time. Now, coincidentally, or I don't know how, it just so happened that later that night, one of my friends from Mumbai, she texted me, and we don't talk frequently. We talk in intervals, casually, ek baar mein hi hello kind of a thing. She asked me, college चा काय आहे scene, like in Marathi, like what's your plans for college? And I told her the same thing, that I'm planning to pursue sociology. And she kind of just like out she just came out and she was like, why are you not doing filmmaking? You know how to act, you've done theater, you watch a lot of films, you know what films are. Why don't you consider filmmaking? And it was really interesting for me that on the same day as I'm shooting a film, the same day, two people who have been in films, who have been in this line for a long time, have asked me to consider filmmaking as a subject that I could study. And so, along with sociology, I started applying to film schools as well, and I applied to Whistling Woods in Mumbai, which interestingly I got into eventually. And I have to say, filmmaking, probably studying filmmaking, has been the best accident of my life, because I did not expect myself to enjoy this subject so much. I'm so glad that happened. And I was shooting the film, and these two people actually came out and told me to consider filmmaking, and I just applied, just blindly went ahead, applied, and got in. So it's a very interesting story of how I actually got into filmmaking. It wasn't in my long-term plans; it just happened like impulsively. I just got into filmmaking, and yeah.
That's very nice to hear, man. I mean, I've seen your work. You guys also should check it out. He is actually a good actor, and I'll be honest, we have been knowing each other from school days, and I've been seeing this guy acting. I've seen this guy performing. I mean, some people are not just there to just read the script and do it as it is. Some people are creative, and this guy is one of them. That is for sure. I'm not bragging. You can check it out yourself. And well, the next question I want to ask you is that like what are the teachings that you have got, from filmmaking specifically? If I want to like specify the subject till now, like what has the journey of the teachings been like as you said that it was an accident as well, getting into filmmaking. There was some reason that you have got into this, I think, like it's said that the you are attracted to the correct mindset, like the people who have the correct mindset, and obviously the correct field. It's not an accident every time, I think. So what has the journey been till now?
The journey or the teachings I got from the journey?
Okay, the teachings you got. Okay, sorry.
Well, honestly, I think from the story that I just told you of how I got into filmmaking, I think the overall uh, uh, teaching, like the above everything else kind of a thing, that I learned was that just because you have not planned something for a long term, just because something was not in your plans, doesn't mean that you ending up doing it impulsively will be a bad decision. It can end up to be one of the best things in your life. Like I just said, right? Filmmaking wasn't in my long term plans. It was a very last moment thing. Within, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks, I was giving the entrance exam for film school, and within the next month, I was already attending my first lecture. So it was almost a 1.5 month journey for me to get into filmmaking. So again, coming back to the point, the biggest lesson I learned out of this was that just because something isn't in your long-term plans doesn't mean that you doing it impulsively will end up being a bad decision. And the other thing that, and after going on field and working on a few of our projects, one of the things that I have learned from film is that uh, दोस्ती यारी काम के टाइम पे सब साइड में. You could work with your friends, you could work with your closest people, but when you're working, the relationships you have and share with them in your personal life are of no importance, because when you're in a professional setup, they are nothing but your colleagues, right? And in that moment, whatever you're working on, this doesn't apply to film, this applies to everything
Any
else.
field, yeah.
Whatever you're working on becomes the bigger priority. If you want, let's say I do films, right? So if I want the film to be a certain way, and if I feel that the film is better off that way, I present my case, we have the argument, right? If someone disagrees, we have an argument. But in the end, we're only doing that because we want the film to be better, because that is the greater priority. And in that process, what relationship I share with the other person is of no relevance. Outside of that setup, we can come out of that argument, we can come back to our personal lives from that professional setup, come back, and then continue on to being close friends. But when we're in there, you're not my friend, I'm not your friend, you're not my brother, I'm not your brother, etc., etc., etc. So those are probably the two biggest things I've learned from being on field, that you know it is supposed to be this way for you to for in order for you to succeed.
That is very, very true, man. Uh, that is very true that we don't consider professionalism in our day-to-day life. Whenever we try to put in our friends in our career, in our business, that's where the real problem starts coming, I think. And it's hard to separate it. But if one knows the maturity, if one has the mindset correct, If one has the, like, do I have to do this? It's for my greater good. So that's perfect. I mean, you put it perfectly. I think that's a very good thing that you're doing it. And well, what are some skills that one might need to, that one needs to get in this field, filmmaking?
So in terms of the skill set, so filmmaking in itself has a lot of subsections.
Okay.
It's a very broad aspect, it's a very broad subject. So even in college when we're studying, we have a course called Basics of Filmmaking, which has 7 to 8 sub-subjects,
Hmm.
right? There is direction, there's producing, there's production design, there's cinematography, there's sound design, VFX, editing, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot. So obviously when you study filmmaking, it is possible, but you can't end up doing everything by yourself because it's so broad and each aspect is so different from the other. That is why you basically see film crews are, basically
Mm-hmm.
large crews, because every division, every department has its own crew, which is doing their own work in order to bring the whole thing together. So in
Okay.
terms of the skill set, it entirely depends on what you target. Direction requires a completely different skill set. Editing requires a different skill set. The knowledge that you need to have in order to excel in that particular field, in that particular department also depends. So overall, I think the overall skill that you're supposed to have as a filmmaker is to understand how to tell a story by creating visuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can tell a story through words. How do you tell a story through visuals? Like if I were to show, I don't know, a person who is going through a heartbreak, how do I, without dialogues, convey to you, the audience, that this person is going through a heartbreak? How do I, without dialogues, convey to you that this person is doing very well in his career, or her career, or their career, right? Creating or telling stories by creating visuals, having that vision. How do I convince the audience that this has actually happened, while you know making a fictional film is something that you have to know how to do, how to manipulate the audience into believing what you're telling them or what you're showing them. I think is that one thing, and everything accordingly comes under that. All the subsections and everything, they're interrelated, but they're also kind of distinct from one another.
Mm-hmm. The second question, like, then what is our generation into? Like, what kind of topics they are into for filmmaking?
Well, to be honest, I don't think there's one specific topic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pattern, though. If you have observed that our generation, whether it's a fortunate thing, in some cases it's a very good thing, in some cases it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
That we analyze everything from a very a progressive liberal perspective, if I have to put it that way. You watch a film and you see something even remotely stereotypical, or like I can't think of. Oh, there's a film called Call Me by Your Name, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful film. I don't know if you've watched it, but the film is basically about I think a man in his early 20s
Mm-hmm.
and a 17-year-old boy sharing a relationship with each other. And
Okay.
uh, I mean, where I'm going with this is basically that people watch the film, and the initial response from a lot of people was that the film promotes predatory relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing that our generation does this is very often is that we analyze everything from a very liberal perspective. We don't necessarily just watch the film for sort of understanding what the story is. We analyze the film as a whole, as to what it's showing and trying to, glorify. So again, I don't think there's a particular topic that our generation is into. There are, like, a lot of people are into anime, a lot of people are into thrillers, sci-fi, a lot of people are into action. But I think what binds all of that, the one common factor is that everyone ends up analyzing the media, analyzing, and then sort of if there's something questionable, you will be picked out and called out for that.
Mhm.
So I think that that's one common thread that everyone shares, irrespective of what they're watching and what they're into.
No, why I said that is because what I see around me is our generation, we try to, let's say we are a bit on a calmer side than our parents. I mean, they were very straightforward, and I think we are like most of us are like save the environment. We are open to things. We are very open to things. We are very positive towards them. That is the reason why I asked you, like, because maybe they might have the thing in their mind, ki, dude, I wanna put this topic out. I wanna tell the audience that okay, this is not the way you should think of this. This is the way you should think of this, or maybe spread the correct knowledge, if you can say that. That's why I think our generation is a bit on the calmer side.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. That we are on the more calmer side, or woke, as people like to call it. Uh, um, but again, what you just said, it's kind of linked to people sort of analyzing the media again
Yeah.
along the line, because since we are on the calmer side and like woke, and we try to kind of tell people that you should have a positive outlook. If you see anything slightly questionable, you will point it out. I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. It's just how it is.
Mhm.
And that's, yeah, again, you added a very good point to that as well, is that we all are watching stuff from a very woke perspective. So yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Okay. And what is the industry like then? I mean, what do you think about the industry right now?
I mean, to be very honest, I've not been exposed to the industry. At
Okay.
all. I've been exposed to the people,
Okay.
and there are all kinds of people. There are all kinds of people. There are there are people who you genuinely love to work with, and I have to be honest, I've been fortunate to work with those kind of people, where there was no stress. There was no, I mean, there was stress, but there was stress in terms of what we were putting out and the quality of work we were doing.
Mhm.
But you know ऐसे ऐसे बोलते हैं ना कि अकड़ू लोग नहीं है, kind of thing. You wouldn't while working with them, you wouldn't end up thinking कि अरे मैं कहाँ पे आ गया. You genuinely enjoyed the process. There are also people who you absolutely do not want to work with, and like, you want to keep your distance from them. uh, and there are people who are okay. I mean, there are those kinds of people who are like, I would perhaps work with you, but I don't know, I'm not sure, I might not, but you're a very good person to be friends with, kind of a thing. Like, you know
Okay.
just like outside of work you're very cool, maybe I would not work with you, but outside of cool you're very cool. So there are all kinds of people, and it truly is a reflection of what I think the industry is. So
100%.
this is all an assumption, because I have no idea what the industry is like. So this is all an assumption, but yeah, there are all kinds of people.
That's very correct, I think. And well, I like to add that, I mean, this is a very versatile industry. I think this teaches you a lot. Like, you are very like open to every kind of person that is going to be in this whole country or in the world, because like we are obviously in India. I mean, come on. You are already exposed to a lot of different people, and that's where you get hard. I think that's where you get to know ki, okay, even being continuously hard is not the way. Staying positive, staying good with other people is the only way. That's how you attract the correct people around you, and that's how you move forward, I think, in this industry. Just like the way they say it, ki, ignore the haters and just move forward. Think about the outcome that you're going to put out in the world, the process that you're going to enjoy. That's one
Absolutely.
thing. And
What I
yeah, you want to say something?
No, I was saying absolutely. I mean, focus on the outcome you want to put out.
uh,
The haters will keep hating. it was gonna hit, as I said. Absolutely.
Well, I wanna talk about music, man. Like, where did that come into your life?
Oh my God. That's a proper 15 mark answer. uh,
We have
music,
time.
um, music has always been in my life. I
Okay.
mean, from like from before I was born, I think music has been in my life. Uh, I come from a very musical family, like in the sense that my dad always loved listening to music. And so as a child, I would always have, he had a Bose speaker at
Mhm.
home back then, like 2005, 2006. That's the earliest memory I have. He had a Bose speaker and he used to play, he's a huge fan of R.D. Burman.
Okay, yeah.
And he used to play all of his songs. Kishore Kumar, Asha Bhosle, Lata Mangeshkar, Mohammad Rafi, Mukesh, all of these people. He used to keep on playing their songs, albums after albums after albums. He used to play, I think, a few of Jatin Lalit, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Um, Madan Mohan as well, few of
Mhm.
their songs. But
Those
R.D.
pure
Burman,
classics,
constant. Yeah, classics, like proper
proper
Bollywood
music.
classics of the 60s. Yeah, like, we say golden era.
Golden era, yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
used to he used to play those songs every day. And as a child, I used to listen to those songs and he used to be like, Kya, yaar? Kya? Every evening
Mhm.
you're playing this kind of. I remember just having that, okay.
Mhm.
But that is the earliest memory I have of music in my life, is that every evening I used to listen to good music, like music that people can listen to and learn from, right? And eventually it just started keeping growing. I got exposed to a lot of modern day Bollywood, or the 2010s Bollywood, not the present Bollywood, please. The 2010s Bollywood, people like Shankar Ehsaan Loy, Shan, Sonu Nigam, A.R. Rahman, Vishal Shekhar, Shreya Ghoshal, all of these people.
Legends,
I
legends all.
used to listen to them as well. And for a long time, I was only into Hindi music. I wasn't. I started listening to English songs when I was in the seventh grade, and that was because I used to sing in school, and my friends, including you, who wanted to create a band, which played English songs, rock songs. And you guys came to me and you asked me, would you be willing to sing? And I, without any hesitation for some reason, just said yes, without listening to a single rock song back then, English rock song that is. And that is when I first started listening to English songs. And I started off with Linkin Park because that was the one band that all of you guys were obsessed with. And then
Oh,
I
lol.
grew to uh, obsessed with it as well. So it started off with Linkin Park, then sort of came to the softer side, John Mayer, Charlie Puth, all of these people. And then I got into metal. And 1.5 years, I was completely listening to metal. I was listening to Megadeth, Metallica, Lamb of God, Behemoth, Amon Amarth, all of these people. I was Slipknot, and oh my God, there's so many metal bands. I was listening to only metal for 1.5 years, and then I started again like exploring. And right now, I think I have a very diverse music taste, as people say. I don't like the term, but music taste.
Mhm.
Because I listen to almost everything. I think except for EDM, I listen to everything. So that's how the journey has been. That is how music has gone up in my life. It's been there at the age of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 18, and it has just been expanding. And it is a huge part of my life. I mean, I can't imagine my life without music.
That's what, man. I mean, it's like from your childhood you've been a performer. Like you're surrounded by stuff like that, which is all related to that. I mean, sing music. Let's say maybe now you're talking about R.D. Burman. Now that guy is insane. I mean, come on. That's like Sholay theme song. If you don't know, okay, younger people. That's like, I mean, like, talk about it, man. I mean, the movies that were there behind in the '90s era. I mean, everything, like, it tells you how this guy is. I think how he is thinking of the art now, not like nowadays where it's just uh, program beats and auto tune. No offense. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What would I like to ask you is, music does play a role in music. Your all art, all kinds of art plays a huge role in putting out a message. And I mean, putting out a message, that's quite a big point, because what we see is like, when we used to see the DDLs and all that, what message used to get into our heads, it was different. And now what is happening is we are kind of getting to know the reality. We have already been into that. Now we are like trying to put out more real content, more what's let's say a positive content. So what I would ask you is, like, what role do we play, and what role do we play in all this, and what should one have in his mind? I mean, there is the answer in that question only, but still, if I want to ask you, I want to know your thoughts about it
What role do we play with respect to what?
with respect to putting out the message.
What role do we play with respect to putting out the message? I think it's a very subjective. Uh, it's a very subjective thing. Like you said, what message we derive from films like DDLJ is very different from the kind of films we watch now. Like, DDLJ was obviously a fantastic film, a fantastic story, but at the same time, very unrealistic,
Mhm.
right? And I remember talking to my friends about, uh, s- stuff that I would do for my, uh, you know, uh,
Yeah, got it.
for my love of my life. 30 years down the lane, and they used to be like, "Man, you are so Bollywood," because uh, that was the phrase that we used to use to, talk about something that was very unrealistic, right? So again, coming back to your question, I think what role do we play in that is very subjective in terms of the what message we have to put out. I mean, you still get films that are very unrealistic, but at the same time, you have very serious films like Article 15. You have films like Padman and Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan and all of these films that send out a more realistic, a more sort of a serious message. And at the same time, you have beautiful films that tell you stories which are very realistic. For example, English Winglish is one of my all-time favorites because of just how relevant the story is, just how relevant the whole situation of Shashi, the protagonist, is. Because there are a lot of women who don't know, who come from a Hindi medium or a vernacular medium school and are exposed to this metropolitan city, which does everything except for respecting those who can't converse in English,
Mhm.
right? So again, relevant stories, very realistic messages, but at the same time, I think what my opinion on putting out a realistic message, or what my opinion or what role I would like to play in sending out a message to people would be different than to, let's say, your perception or someone else's perception. So it's a very subjective term, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I think we have that change where people are putting out more relevant stories, more relatable stories, and not stories like Shah Rukh Khan driving in Europe saying "बड़े बड़े शहरों में से छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती है." So yeah,
Why I asked you is this, because as I saw one of your projects, Caged Bird. So like,
Mhm.
can you tell the viewers like what is it about?
Okay, so Caged Bird, it's very difficult for me to describe the film because a lot of the description of the film lies in the story. So, and I don't
That
want to
is
give the story away, but Caged Bird is about, it's about a boy who is going through one of the most important moments of his life in terms of finding out who he is, who he, what and how different he is from, you know, or not different, or just about discovering himself. And it's one of, you would say, a very important moment in this boy's life, and the kind of anxiety that it brings about once he finally realizes who he actually is. uh, the story is basically about that. It's a wonderful story. I don't know where the written story, where people could find the written story, because one of my friends wrote that story, and this is basically an adaptation of that short story. And we tried to do justice to that story as much as we could, but the story, the way it was written, was absolutely wonderful. And if I do ever, you know what, I'm going to have a word with the author. He's a really good friend of mine. I'm going to go and ask him, you know, if his work is available anywhere, if that story could be found anywhere. Um, but Cage Bird is basically about that. It's about one of the most crucial moments in a boy's life when it comes to finding and discovering himself. Is the best way I would put it.
that's very nice, man. That's very nice. And well, I will, by not giving out any of it, I would like to like tell or maybe ask. I mean, we all go through this. We all go through this. It's not different. It's nothing different. I mean, it's not just and it's not just one topic as well. I mean, we are in a generation where there's a lot of, what do you call it, psychological problems that we have. I mean, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of, we are just open to everything. We are born in the world of social media, and that's what creates, I think, the overall mental problems that we have. It's not about just one topic that you cannot, let's say I'm facing something, I'm into something, I'm maybe, let's say, I'm depressed, and I'm not able to talk about it. I'm in a, let's say, that's what it is now. The closet is closed. I'm in a closet where I cannot go out and I cannot talk to people about it, because maybe maybe the social media thinks that, okay, no, if you talk about all this is negativity. This is, you're sharing negativity. No one wants to talk to a person who's negative. That's what it is. I mean, and it's not just about depression. We are all in some or other kind of situation where it's just about those things which, uh, you know I just don't want to go out and I want to talk about it. But I would surely tell you that even this guy, he's a speaker, man. He is a leader. He cannot, and he won't, and I wouldn't like him or anyone, anyone, neither me, you, anyone. You shouldn't be, you know I won't say that you shouldn't face your problems yourself. You should 100%. But if it's related that you are supposed to be identified, or that problem has to be out there, then you have to come out of the closet and you have to talk about it. You have to tell. And that's overall a overview of that story, and it's a message that it conveys, and it's a very beautiful story. Thank you for that, Shobit. And I hope you guys watch it. It's in his Instagram feed. I'll link the handle down.
I think more than thanking me, we have to thank the person who wrote it. So
Yeah, that's 100%.
also,
That's true.
to give out, well, I don't know how to put it, but coming out of the closet is also, it means uh, something else when you realize what the story is about. So uh, I would, for people who do not know what that phrase actually means,
Mhm.
uh, it's it's you could go look it up, what coming out of the closet implies to, and the story will perhaps make more sense, because it's a very, again, it's a story with minimal dialogues. This is like only 2 3 dialogues.
Okay, that is true.
So yeah, I like your interpretation of the phrase "coming out of the closet." To be honest,
Okay. Okay, that's what I think I thought about it.
but in terms of the story, I think coming out of the closet means something else.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but
Okay.
I like the interpretation. Really like the interpretation.
Okay. Okay. So my guy has also written a book. Now that we are talking about his projects, my guy has also written a book. Can you tell the viewers what's it about also? Maybe
Okay,
not
I have.
maybe not, you're not supposed to get it all out, obviously, just an overview. Maybe like those confusing words so that they can think of, their mind gets confused, that's how it is.
Um, I am still writing the book. It's not completely over yet. So
Okay, okay, okay.
I keep publishing chapters on Wattpad, uh, but it's still in process. Although I haven't worked on it for a while now because of other things I've been occupied with. But the book is basically about a 17-year-old gay teen and his band, and it's basically about uh, him finally starting to have a love life.
Okay.
He meets a boy at one of his gigs, um, who also happens to be gay. It's just that the first meeting is not very fruitful for either of them because they don't really talk a lot. But he sees this guy, he looks at him, and he was like, "Oh my God, he's so beautiful." And
That's
through the
basically every
band,
love story, I think. I mean,
yeah,
but I mean, you're trying to put
Like,
it correctly, though.
yeah. Uh,
Like the problems we
and
face, na?
actually,
That's what I was saying.
the boy the boy he meets actually is a friend of one of his bandmates, or
Oh, okay.
acquaintances rather. So that's how I think they come across each other, uh, and they start talking, and obviously uh, the protagonist starts to feel the other boy being gay. He doesn't know if he's into men. And so it's basically the initial parts of the book is about the speculation. He's wondering, is he not, is he not. And it turns out that he is into men. Then the thing, the relationship that these two, the friendship, the relationship that these two have together sort of develops. And everything is running parallel with the band. And then there's obviously a conflict which I would rather not share. um, Read the book for that. Then there is the conflict. There are a few complications, and basically it's a textbook love story, but it's unique in its own way because it has a lot of layers in it. That's basically, it's about a 17-year-old gay teen finally having a love life, a very turbulent love life, but yes.
Every love story is unique, brother. That is very true. And I mean, it's a phase I think we all go through. It's a phase that we all learn from. It's a lot of teachings. Every relation is a lot of teachings. That's beautiful, man. I would like to love your, read your book. Love to read your book one day when it gets published. Okay, so okay, another project my guy has. Okay, Drowned Voices. Can you now that I can that I think you can tell that I think you can talk about.
Yeah, that's an open book. Ground Voices, it was our first semester practical project in film school, where we had to make a non-fiction film. And the group I was in, we chose a documentary. We chose to make a documentary. Drowned Voices is about misrepresentation of South Asians and Indians in particular in Western media. So Western films, basically English Hollywood films, um, series, cartoons, everything. The stereotypical portrayal of Indian people, South Asians in general, and the resultant hate that has been created in the general population of the West,
Mhm.
uh, and how South Asians are generally treated. or looked down on, basically, is what the Drown is what Drown Voices, uh,
Is about.
the documentary is about. So yeah, that's Drown Voices.
Yeah, I mean that has been some successful project for you, I think, man. These guys have won a lot of awards for that, and congratulations to you for that. That's amazing, man. Uh, it's all somehow related. Drowned voices, those cage bird, it's kind of related. I mean, even when I like just read the title, if you can say, drowned voices,
Mhm.
that tells you a lot. I mean, it's not just about, let's say, now you have chosen one topic into that okay, how we as people have been treated in other European countries, but I think Drowned Voices is more than that. It's more than that. It's not just about European countries. I mean, you chose. I'm not trying to tell that you're doing any, you chose any wrong thing, or I'm not into that. I'm just trying to tell that. I mean, it's there in India as well. I mean, but it's there in India as well. I mean, it's there everywhere. That's a beautiful topic that you chose. It's a beautiful. I mean, uh, if it's even if it's there in India, we are okay with it. you know uh, in the end, we are all Indians. It's quite different when it gets to racism and everything. That's quite different, and that's a correct topic, and that's a correct way I think you guys went to. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you just said, Drowned Voices, it's not just confined to South Asians and Indians, right? There is misrepresentation about everything. There is stereotypical representation of everything. Like you said, even in India, we have the kind of misrepresentation and stereotypes that Bollywood promotes on South Indians and Punjabi and Bengalis is like you said, it's in India as well. So there is truly, I mean, Drowned Voices is not just about South Asians and Indians being misrepresented in the West, although that is what the short film covers. But obviously, it has its own depths. It has its own levels to it as well. So absolutely agree. I agree on that.
Well, let's talk about some skills that you have. Let's talk about some speaking skills first, and then about some leadership skills. Where did do you think that you had it like from start, or maybe you got to learn somewhere?
I honestly don't know because
That's
uh,
from then your birth, I think. That's a birthday gift.
the thing with me was that so my primary schooling was divided. So I used to stay in Hyderabad before. I was born and brought up in Hyderabad for 10 years, and then I moved to Pune, right? I moved to Pune when I was in the fourth grade. Now, the thing is, when I was in school up to the third grade, I was a very quiet child. Yeah, I never used to speak out loud. Even I think in the fourth grade, I was a very quiet child. I never used to like presenting myself in front of the class or in front of the school, going out in front of people. I honestly have no idea when the transition happened where I just sort of picked it up and I was just like, okay, you know what, maybe I can go and speak in front of people. Uh, I honestly don't know. I think a lot of that came from watching films. Again, a huge important films has had. Um, I like how we're coming full circle on this, by the way. But yeah, a lot of it, a lot of it has come from films where I used to watch. My dad used to make me watch a lot of English films. Um, and so just sort of used to look at people speak here and there. And I honestly don't know when it started, but eventually I think around the fifth, sixth grade it started is when I started taking stage and going out in front of people to deliver speeches for assemblies and participate in debates and elocutions and extemporaries, etc., etc. And a huge part of doing theater in general helped because theater requires you to speak a lot, come out and emote and speak a lot in front of a mass or an audience. So I genuinely don't know when the transition happened or if I learned uh, speaking, or if, I had to polish my public skills, or if I had that in me since birth. It just sort of flowed out naturally. So I think it was in me since birth. It was just suppressed.
Mhm.
I don't know, but that is how the process has been. So,
Well, same about the leadership skills because you were also the head boy of our school, and he was always in the what do you call it, the what's the name for that, the community, or what do you call it? Uh, I mean, head boy and then prefect and everything.
the student council.
Student council. Yeah, sorry, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Student council. He was always there in that. So, like, what do you think? Why were you chosen? Maybe, you can just put some light on
Why was I chosen? Wow, the answer is going to sound so self-centered.
that. It's fine, it's fine.
um, I genuinely don't know.
Lol. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Um, I just think I think it was because I was very likable in school. People, um, and I'm not trying to brag about myself. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I was a very popular kid in school. You can attest for that. Students knew me across school. Teachers knew me. Like everyone knew me, and I was very like. I don't think a lot of people had a bad opinion. A few did. I know that for a fact because you can't be liked by everyone. Few people also came to me on my face and told me that, I don't really like you. They use some very not so kind words to describe me. But overall, I think I was very likable by the students and the teachers. I think that was an important.
I would like to add that point that whenever someone says something to you, any curse word, anything, they are literally saying that to themselves. Continue.
I honestly did not pay a lot of attention when people came and said mean stuff to me because I knew I was at an influential position in school at that time. So it was it honestly could have done me no good to kind of interact with those kinds of comments at that time. But I think that was the important driving factor as to why I was perhaps chosen as head boy, was because I was popular and I was likable by people, and I'm not really sure if I was influential because I don't know how much influence I've had on the school and the way it operates. Although I know that the whole music scene of the school changed because of the band I was in. I mean, we
You want to give a shout
really
out to that band?
district. We both were in that band. By the way, I used to sing for the band, and Shivam used to play the drums. So I think we as a band really had a huge impact on our school. So, but again, coming back to your, I think those are the two main reasons as to why I was chosen to lead.
uh, Talking about leadership skills, okay. Have you seen the Jordan documentary, One
One
Last
Last Dance.
Dance?
I have actually watched the first few episodes. I have not watched the complete thing.
You, why I asked it because you also like basketball, right?
I do. Although I'm a Warriors fan. I'm not a Bulls fan.
It's fine. I mean, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Come on.
Michael Jordan, he is one of the best athletes around the world, not just in basketball. So,
I mean
but
that quite attracts. I think it's the quality that attracts you to basketball. I mean, sports teaches a lot. Sports does teach a lot.
sports teaches you a lot of character. Like
Now that we're talking about Michael Jordan, who are your current favorites? I think basketball.
the basketball. Oh man, Stephen Curry.
That guy is good, man.
From I think the whole reason I got into basketball was because I saw Stephen Curry play, and I saw him. Interesting thing actually. So he got injured during
Okay.
the 2019-2020 season
Mhm.
against Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, and he was out for a fair bit of time.
Mhm.
Uh, and that was when I had recently started to play basketball in the evening with my
Mhm.
friends
Friends.
in the society. casual. Okay, I wasn't very enthusiastic about it. I used to play because that's what everyone was playing, and I just want to come out, get into some physical activity. So I used to play. And one of my really good friends was a Warriors fan. He's a Stephen Curry bhakt, and he
Ayush?
used to tell me, uh, his name is Saket, but
Okay, okay.
Ayush is
Got it.
a Warriors fan as well. I don't
Which
know if he's a
one?
Stephen Curry bhakt, but Ayush is a Warriors fan as well. So the three of us are Warriors fans.
Shout out
But
Ayush Joshi.
no, I'm talking about a different Ayush.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lol. Four people just got shout out on our channel. Congratulations to you guys. Okay, continue, Shobit.
yeah. So he told me, and he was like, "Oh my God, you should look at Stephen Curry play. You should look at Stephen Curry play." And then I started joining the NBA, and I started watching Warriors ka games, and Stephen Curry wasn't in it. So I was like, "He's a superstar and he's not playing." And he was like, oh, "Okay, he's injured. Okay, okay." So just before the lockdown started, COVID lockdown started in around March 2020. Stephen Curry returned after the injury in a game against the Toronto Raptors. And I was watching that game live
Oh,
on
live as in
television.
what? Like on TV or
On
you were
television.
there?
Yeah.
You were
Live as in
there?
on TV. I
Okay.
wasn't in San Francisco.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
That would have
I
been
wasn't in,
something.
no, no, no. I wish. But I was watching that thing, that game live. And you can feel the atmosphere through the screen as well when a player of that level and that skill comes back. वो बोलते हैं ना बेटा घर वापस आ रहा है kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
And
Guess who's back?
you should have seen the atmosphere that you watching it live at 8:30 in the morning, seeing Chase Center going absolutely nuts, and then I saw Stephen Curry play live and take those shots, run those fast breaks. I fell in love with the man. I did a complete research on him. I used to watch all his past games, and now recently he broke the record for most three pointers in NBA history.
Okay.
He overtook Ray Allen. So, I mean, he's my, and this story, I mean, the kind of criticisms he used to get when he had first started off. And then to win an NBA championship in 2015, he is my favorite NBA player. He has
What?
inspired me to a lot, to a great level as well. But I have his poster up here on the wall as well.
Okay.
I can't show it right now,
No, it's fine.
but I do have his poster.
What do you think about LeBron James though?
He's clearly up there. Okay, I'm not a LeBron fan, but that man at the age of 37, the way he plays, he is insane. The amount of fitness that a person can maintain, right? Like a lot of people, you see a lot of professional athletes retire by the age of 36, 37. You look at someone like LeBron James and you can see he has around easily 5 more years left in him if he keeps himself injury free. The shape he's in, the way he keeps himself so fit, and then he's an excellent player in itself. He was always an excellent player. So again, I don't follow him. I'm not a LeBron fan. There's that also conflict of interest because LeBron used to play for the Cavaliers, and I'm a Warriors fan, so I always used to, kind of be like LeBron, and now he's playing for Lakers, and I don't really like the Lakers. So again, because I'm a Warriors fan, but as a player, I think he's one of the best. He's a great player.
Well, my next question would be that what has exercise played the role in your life? Played a role in your life? What kind of role it has played?
Exercises?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it has played a very important part in my life. I still am, by the way, but I was the fat child in school, in class. And for a huge part of my life, I used to hate exercising because It used to make, because in school, generally when you people used to make me run and do exercises, people used to make me very conscious of myself, about the fact that I was fat and that I was unfit and that I couldn't run long distances for a longer period of time. So I used to hate exercising. But I think in that sense, the lockdown of 2020, the first wave of the pandemic, was uh, sort of a blessing, because that's when I religiously started working out every day and putting my body through hell. And in terms of hell, as in not torturing it, but
Hmm.
you know,
No.
exercising to a level that I'd never done before. Like I used to push myself to do more every single day. I don't know if you've watched that HRX video of Hrithik Roshan where he's going through the transformation
I have.
for you've watched it, right? He says that one very particular line, to do the same thing every day, it becomes boring, it becomes redundant. So you have to do something more. Every time you do it, you have to do something more, even if it's a little more. So I used to do that every day. I used to, an extra 15 seconds, an extra 20 seconds kind of a thing. I used to push myself. And I think not just physically, even mentally, it has like changed me a lot as a person. Just, yeah. So a lot of people think that exercising and body transformation, losing weight or gaining weight, it's a thing about about your body, but it's more of a mental game. How much can you stand there and fight your instincts to give up? How much can you keep pushing yourself? So I think physically, obviously it has, but even mentally it has changed me a lot. My ways to, the way I look at challenges right now, the way I look at hardships, and sort of just stand my ground and be like, no, you have to stand here and not give up, because you will pull through. Because if you can pull through 20 minutes of intense cardio at the gym, where after 5 minutes you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, you can pull through this as well. It's all a mental game. So exercise has definitely played a huge, huge role in my life.
That's a very beautiful point that you said. I think, I mean, any what do you call it? Anything you do in your life, if you are, let's say, if someone is preparing for JEE and NEET, if they can push through that, if they can push through that and they can get through that, then I mean, you can get through anything. I think. I mean, it's just a mental game. I mean, it's not like anything as in like, I'm the god now. I can do anything. It's not like that. I mean, it boosts your confidence. Exercise does if you are, you see, it's an advice. I am no one to give an advice, but this is something that even I do. So I would surely recommend that if you are in a place where you are not, let's say, you are not able to do anything, I mean, anything as in what key, anything is not getting completed, it is not, you are not pushing yourself, then exercise is the place to start. I think it is the place to start. And I will also like to add that Shobit has been the inspiration for me as well to start exercising. This is not because of now that I'm saying it because he's in my podcast, but no. Why this happened, I'll also tell that because at the start of the lockdown, as he said, this guy started exercising, and then I used to see his Instagram stories, and I used to like, oh damn, he's getting thin, man. This guy's getting thin, and I was 80 kgs at that point. I was like, damn, dude, if this guy can do it, I can also do it. I should also start doing it. I started talking to this guy about exercise and everything. I don't know if he knew this about, but as soon as that day I asked him, ki, dude, what are you doing for exercise and everything? It's good that you're trying to lose weight and everything. The next day I started it until now, till today, and after this day as well. In my future, I do exercise every day, every day. It's been 2 years now, and thank you, Shobit, for that. And you say you don't inspire people, well, I don't think so. I don't think so. Any small positive what do you call approach and a message can inspire a lot. Can inspire a lot. This guy is an example. Thank you for that, Shubh.
Oh, I don't know what to say now. I honestly don't know what to say. That is That is really, I'm really glad. I'm really, really glad.
This is
That
the best
means so
feeling if
much.
you, this is the best feeling that you get, you know.
Yeah,
This is
and
life. If you're
it
trying
means
to, you
a lot.
know, put out some positivity, someone gets influenced, and then I would like to also tell you, I haven't, you know, I have just recorded as a second episode, and I have talked about it in that episode. I'm going to put it out before this, so do watch that out. And I talk about something, a phase that I went in the lockdown time, and how exercise helped me out. So if that can do it, if watch that surely, if that can do it, if I can get out of some that kind of situation, because just because of something that I'm doing consistently, only the only thing that I'm doing consistently, then I mean, what a big part, you know, anything can play in your life. No, you never know, you never know. And thank you so much for that, Shobit. I mean, there's no, I'm not trying to put you in some level or something, and I'm not trying to, you know, brag or something. It's just genuine feeling that I have, and I wanted to tell you that people don't appreciate others, but I know where it started. And it brought me out of some phase. I have not talked about it, talked like deeply about the phase, but I have obviously given the idea. I wanted to tell this out, you know, I wanted to, you know, get this out, and I wanted to thank you as well.
Thank you so much. I honestly have, now I've gone blank. I,
It's fine, man.
that means a lot. I'm actually very glad. I'm very glad that I helped you. Thank you so much.
Any day, bro. You know, if I can, I'm no one, but if I can, you know, let's just, you know, just that's what I said. Na? Okay, let's just try to do our part, as we said before as well. Just try to put out the message, the correct one. That's it. So, well, the next question to you is about the your role. You consider your parents as your what do you call it, the role models?
Absolutely. I
What
mean,
role they have played in your life then? I mean, how like the tell me about the whole journey till now. In short, you can
I
say
mean,
for everyone.
see, it's a very cliche thing to say, but as my parents, they've done everything for me. I mean, everything I am, everything I have, everything like my morals, everything I stand for, everything has come from them. They've taught me so many things. They've been so supportive in everything that I do. Not once in my life did they question a decision that I was 100% sure about. You know, we live in 2022 right now. Uh, I completed 10th in
Feels
2019.
like
Even
2020
then,
though. Okay, continue.
I completed 10th in 2019, and I had decided much before that I was going to pursue arts as my stream. And a lot of parents don't really get on board with that, but that's just one of the examples where my mom and dad, both of them were like, "Go ahead, we support you," right? And as role models, I think there's so many things I look up to them for, but I think in particular, the one thing that I look up to my dad and my mom both is that learn as much as you can from people, from books, from films, and go out and experience things, right? वो बोलते हैं ना कि अगर दुनिया नहीं देखोगे तो दुनियादारी कैसे समझोगे? If you don't see the world, how will you know how the world works? And the only way to see the world is to go out there and learn, gain knowledge, develop skills, and to work hard, right? That's what both my parents stand for. And that is the one thing I always take in from them. Every time I see them, and I've seen them, they're obviously as parents, they don't say much about the kind of hardships that they go through. But you look at them, you see them fighting through something internally, and you just see their attitude. How are they handling so many things? My dad handles my whole family, my grandparents, he handles so many things. My mom handles the whole house. She's a teacher, and she's handling the house during the lockdown, the cleaning, cooking, everything. And I just look at her, and I was just like, I mean, if that can't inspire you to be the best version of yourself, I don't know what can. And so in
100%.
terms of role models, I think I do have other role models, like, celebrities and all of that, who I look up to. But in terms of whether or not I look up to my mom and dad, I most definitely do.
I mean, we are in a generation where we should think of that 100%. We should, if someone is thinking that they are your enemies and everything, you are wrong. You are not. You have not understood your parents. I personally would say I never thought that they were my enemies, but I personally was never intact with them. I'll be honest. I used to live in Thane, and they both were, they both used to go to go to job, and I never used to meet them. I would say only the morning and the bedtime. Same thing when I shifted to Pune. The same thing. They were busy the whole time, but I would say lockdown made us realize that. So thank you, lockdown, but don't come again. But yeah, I
One
mean,
time
yeah.
visit was good. We need it again. Lockdown का one time visit was good.
Yeah, one time, I mean, पेट भर गया, bro. I mean, chill. अभी पेट भर गया है. I don't know, man. I mean, uh, it's beautiful how the relation is. I enjoyed a lot in lockdown, I would say. I mean, it did ended very weirdly. There's another, that's another, video episode, I mean. But I mean, you don't need anyone. That I would say that you don't need anyone. At a point, you need the faith from them, the belief from them, and you need the belief in yourself. That's the most important thing that even lockdown has taught me. That's very weird, and you won't maybe you won't get the feeling, but I mean, not you, Shobit, you as in the viewers, unless and until you've gone through this. I mean, it's very weird, and I don't wish that you go through any bad stuff to realize that. So, better start understanding your parents. I mean, they are not that bad. They are your parents. I mean, I would like to add a point that I used to always think that where are those where do I find those friends who I connect with when I'm with someone who I bond with too much. I did get those friends. He's one of them, and other people who were there in my band, and also others. But I would surely say no one is a better friend than your parents. Okay, no one is. And obviously, your personal relationship with yourself does matter. It's very important as well. That's some lockdown stuff, man. I mean, played with our hearts. Would like to say something, Shobit?
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything left to add to that. So
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, it's beautiful. Well, I think we should end this one now. It's been beautiful talking to you, man. I mean, I wish I could think of more stuff. Content has gone down now. It's been very beautiful talking to you, man. I mean, do follow him, guys. Do follow his work. He is a future actor if you wanna be in touch with. better be in touch with this guy. He might be profitable. You never know. Okay. So I would like to I would like to ask one thing, that any message you want to put out there, for youngsters, or maybe any person as a whole. Any message you want to tell?
There are actually so many messages.
One
I
thing,
don't know.
one message, if I
Um,
ask you now, okay, only this is the only option you have. One message, okay.
one message. Okay. Hmm. I think uh, from the top of my mind, uh, for people who have experienced it or who are experiencing it or who will experience it, because it is inevitable at some point of your life that you have to go through a time that is going to be brutal to you in terms of what it teaches. You will go through everyone, and it may not happen because of a breakup. It may not happen, necessarily because of that. You will go through a time in your life where you will be brought down to your knees. But always believe that the universe has something much, much better in store for you. No matter how unlikely it seems at that moment when you're down, no matter how unlikely it seems, always believe that the universe has something much more better, brighter, and happier for you on the other end. Because the tunnel is always dark. Once you come out of the tunnel, you will actually see the luscious green trees and the beautiful scenery. So always, always, always believe, trust the process, work on yourself. मतलब यूनिवर्स ने कुछ रखा है इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुम बैठे रहो कुछ ना करो. Work on yourself, work to make yourself a better person, and always believe that the universe has something much better in store for you. Just because you lost something, just because something didn't go the way you wanted it to go, doesn't mean that the universe is not going to make you happy. So I think that is one thing that I want everyone to hear.
Beautiful, beautiful. I am glad that I brought you on the show. There is no, I mean, no words, man, no words to say. You said it correctly, you said it beautifully. This thing needs to be out there. Beautiful, man. I hope we do much, much more episodes with you. This is
I
the,
would
this is
love
the,
to come
this is the, this is the, the, what do you call it? The game and the fun of life, if you wanna put it that way. The more you connect, the more better you get. Always think of, there's a lot to learn from everyone. There's a lot to learn from everyone. A lot of people go through things which you might never know. But as we all are the part of one, it feels out. Even if you haven't experienced it, you know the feel. It's beautifully how you put it, Shobit. I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you, I would say. It's been a beautiful episode, and I've been thank you, man. Thank you for coming.
thank you. Thank you for having me. Really, I enjoyed talking to you a lot. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till now. You must obviously know why I said this was a beautiful conversation. I mean, I was left with no words after talking to this guy. More content like this is coming your way. Please keep supporting us, keep following us. Thank you for the support you've given us to the two videos. If you haven't watched them yet, go watch them. Keep following us. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to this channel. Like, share, hit that bell icon. Just keep following us. This is not a channel just like that, made just like that to just have fun. This is my motive was to learn, and it is always going to be. So I hope you also, we both learn together, we both grow together, we all of us we grow together. Thank you so much.